30 episodes in, everyone. We made it to 30 freaking episodes of Neo Reality Collective. I'm your host, Neo Reality. So, we're got a bunch of news to talk about this Wednesday, along with some new comics from Third Eye. Yay! Good job, proud of you. And we're gonna start off right away with Kojima production audio director Leuven Forssell, all revealing that recording is underway for an undisclosed project. Saying in a tweet, first COVID recording this year for undisclosed project. Super happy with the results. So Kojima Productions seems to be working on a new project. Okay. What do you think this project could be? Could it be an all expenses, massive, multiple cutscenes every 3 seconds, movie-length video game that rivals that of Hollywood's productions, but much better and less horrible? Probably. Is it a Silent Hill's spiritual successor? Or, like, people have been saying, there's been rumors about that. Yeah, a new horror game by Kojima has been teased, so it stands to reason. I'm all for it. Let's check it out. Let's see what is going on. Probably scary. So, Ewan McGregor donned his Obi-Wan Kenobi costume on the set of The Mandalorian in preparation for the Kenobi Disney Plus series, according to the actor. In an interview with podcast Happy, Sad, Confused, McGregor and English actor Carly Borman were discussing the motorcycle doc Long Way Up when the conversation shifts to the Obi-Wan Kenobi Disney Plus series. Podcast host Josh asked McGregor if he's ready to get back into the Obi-Wan roles for the series, which will be directed by Deborah Chow. Chow directed episodes 3 and 7 of Mandalorian Season 1. McGregor's answer, and no one shortly after, can be mined in for some interesting information. Yes, I'm really excited about it. It's been a long time coming. I'm excited about the fact that it's a series as opposed to a movie. It gives us more space, and mainly I'm excited to be at it because of the Mandalorian series, which I just thought was really good, and we're going to adapt some of the technology that utilized in that filming. And I'm working with Deborah Chow, who directed some of the Mandalorian, and I'm really excited about working with her. I think she's really good. We did a couple of tests when we were going to make a film earlier. We did some testing, and it was great working with her. He then asks that if McGregor actually got into character for the camera test, and McGregor responds, "We did it properly. It was a funny moment walking on set because there was a lot of the Mandalorian crew. I walked in, and for me, it was a big moment. I walked into the dressing room, and there were my binge cloaks, and my belts and boots, and it was like, oh my god." So it seems like Obi-Wan Kenobi himself was walking around the set of Mandalorian Season 1, as Chow hasn't been confirmed as director for the Mandalorian Season 2. Oh, and there are some flashback sequences. So it's highly unlikely that Kenobi will be making a cameo appearance in the second season because, well, he's dead, and unless you want to go ahead and have Rey Kenobi retcons, which can't really happen. Yeah. So yeah, Obi-Wan Kenobi's coming back, but I feel like like one of the rumors I heard was that they were going to bring back Darth Krayt, the future Sith Lord, Ashad Het, to fight Obi-Wan, be the main antagonist, so to speak, and that would set the stage for a potential future Sith, unless they kill him off, because the legend sucks, right? But it's nice to see Ewan McGregor starting to get back into the role. Looking forward to the series, hopefully. And not suffer for any horrible rewrites. So, as the COVID virus continues to ruin our lives, it was announced that Ghostbusters Afterlife have shifted its release date by 3 months. So, what was originally set to launch back in March 5th of 2021 has now been moved. Has now moved to June 11th, 2021, which is the same weekend as the first Ghostbusters film. After it was originally set to release in July 10th to July 10th of this year to March 5th due to the virus happening. But yeah. So Ghostbusters Afterlife, delayed once more. So either this was because of the whole let's tie in with the first movie, or it's because it's because the virus is not going away, so they have to prepare. So, sucks. Generally sucks. Zack Snyder's Justice League removes certain producer credits. So, former Warner Bros. Producers Jeff Johns and John Berg have reportedly had their producing credits removed from Zack Snyder's Justice League. According to The Hollywood Reporter, John and Bergs will now receive producer credits on the Snyder Cut, which is currently undergoing reshoots that involve Affleck, Ray Fisher, Amber Heard, and possibly others. The site goes on to state that the source is close to Berg and Johns have confirmed their intentions to remove their names from the film since they are not working on the project and are no longer studio executives. Jared Leto's I'll get to that in a little bit, but yeah, but like this was yeah, this talks about more in depth about certain things that I'll talk about in a moment. But yeah, I don't really see the point of having Jeff Johns and John Berg being producer credits, but hearing that they're no longer studio executives, that was the first I'm hearing it. But I get why they probably shouldn't be labeled producer credits since they weren't really like, were they even working on the Joss Whedon cut? Let's check. Let's check the original. 2018. And let's see. No way, I'm thinking. This was produced by Charles Roven, Deborah Snyder, John Berg, and Jeff Johns. Okay, so they did get involved, but like this was probably after or the events of Zack Snyder's a little incidents. The incident with Zack Snyder, so I think that might have had the case of having more producers get involved. Paramount Plus is developing a Flashdance TV reboot. So they plan to reboot the 1983 Flashdance into a TV series centered on a young black woman who works on a strip club with dreams of becoming a ballerina. Okay. The original film revolved around the character Alex Owens, aka played by Jennifer Bells, who works by day in the steel mill as a wielder and by night dancer as a club. She dreams of one day becoming a ballerina, and the story focuses on how that will or won't be a reality. Robinson's take will instead focus on a young black woman who works in a strip club who wants to become a ballerina. The unnamed lead will struggle to find a place in the world while navigating romance, money, art, friendship, and how to love herself, as reported by The Hollywood Reporter. At this time, there's no news as to who will be cast in the titular role or supporting roles. Paramount Plus plans to launch in early 2021, which will integrate a number of different networks owned by Viacom, CBS, including MTV, Nickelodeon, BET, the Smithsonian Channel, and many more. The streaming platform also recently announced a Grease prequel series. So, yeah, I don't know much about Flashdance. I never watched it, but is that the iconic bend their back and the water comes down thing? Is that it? I don't know, honestly. Also, so it was announced that Supernatural's final season, which wraps its 15th final season run on CW, Netflix has announced that it will arrive on the streaming service this November. So that's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. As part of Netflix's long-standing agreement with the CW, newly concluded seasons will arrive on the stream 8 days after the season finale airs on the CW. Should the trend hold, that would mark season 15's arrival on November 27th. So yeah, so those who want to go on Netflix, if you're still not mad at what happened with them, then by all means. Also, due to the ratings boost of season 11, XXX has renewed Archer for season 12. Archer's back, everyone. Though I was confused. I thought the show was supposed to end about a year or so ago. But yeah, Archer's back in a big way. With viewerships up as the Emmy Award-winning spy series returns to its roots and begins to plot as a 12th season next year. Our thanks to Aaron Reed, Matt Thompson, Casey Willis, and the entire team of Floyd County Productions, and for keeping Archer as fun as ever and true to form. Together with its unbelievable voice cast, Archer is set to give fans another great season. So I haven't watched Archer, but I do know that the people involved also worked on Frisky Dingo, and honestly, I would love a conclusion to that series because I enjoyed the hell out of that. And honestly, I could buy into the idea that they could cross over if they wanted to. Oh, unless they already have, I don't know, but I'm all for it. So the creator of the 100 series has revealed that apparently Jonathan Rothenberg reflected on helming the CW series and the unplanned changes the show and its characters endured. So, series creator reflected on his own experiences helming the show for its entire run, serving as showrunner, writer, and executive producer. Notably, his initial attempt to create a show that matched with the rest of the CW's and young adult sensibilities at the time, but the president kept urging him to go darker with the premise's possibilities. He observed the characters like Jasper and Murphy were intended to play major roles in the series, but the cast and crew were so impressed by their performances that they expanded their roles moving forward. With this in mind, other individuals built up to be main characters were killed off to keep audience on their toes. Saying this, while the 100 has come to an end, the prequel series, taking approximately 97 years before the story, the main series has been planned by the creator. A backdoor pilot episode aired as part of the 100's final season, and as Rothberg previously noted that the prequel is still being discussed by network executives for a potential pickup, but continues to await final decision. So, I have watched a couple, like a season or two or so of the season, a season or two of the show, but I never really got much into it. But yeah, it was it was kind of sad. I haven't seen it that much. I haven't watched it in a long time. I think the last time was when I think they had encountered the natives of the what remains of the planet. Um yeah, yeah. I don't know the exact details on that, but like I think that was the last time I saw it. But yeah. It's just insane how that show was and how it was initially for me, but I just kind of fell out with it. I don't know what happened I don't know what happened, but what can you do? So after it was revealed by AJ Gray that he tested positive for the virus, saying on a tweet, "Well, I got some bad news. Last COVID test came back and I tested positive. I don't really have any symptoms at all, but I'm still stuck on a 14-day quarantine. Yeah, this blows. It's a hell of an inconvenience right now because boy, I need to be at work, but it's really what it is. I'm finally cracked my blinds and look out my window like I'm locked up. I tested negative 3 times out of the collective, and I could pinpoint the exact person who passed it on to me. You know, when someone catches something, you probably shouldn't run on your effing soapbox and try to pull some different effing ideology from it." And so this last tweet was a response to a Twitter user who said this. "So someone who wrestled 96 times at the collective and also at the GCW show in California tests less than a week later, and also one of my favorites, has now tested positive. Let's remember that PMA and Britt telling us there's nothing to worry about because they've been safe the whole time." And AJ Gray seemed naturally pissed about that response. But yeah, this also led to an effect on Joey Janelle, who sadly has to pull from his Dynamite, who had to pull from Dynamite because of a concern earned from an independent show. So before we get to the whole, so it got replaced with Kenny Omega versus Sonny Kiss, his tag team partner. Now, before people go ahead and say that AW runs a sloppy shop, we don't run a sloppy shop. Well, I like to point this for the record. This was on Joey Janelle's own time, so it's not really AEW's fault, but, you know, we gotta blame AEW because, you know, it's not like Vince is to blame for anything wrong, right? Right? So, Impact Wrestling Knockouts champion, I can't pronounce her name, but she's the women's champion, has finally signed a long-term contract with the company. The signing was revealed today by Josh Matthews during the Impact Press Pass call to promote Bound for Glory. She reacted to the news saying on Twitter, "I'm waiting for you to talk about this publicly. I'm happy to confirm and so excited about what the future holds." Yeah, I had found out that she was working without a contract, and I was like, wow, that's a ballsy move. Yeah, like she also responded saying, "A long time coming. I will never be able to thank you enough." When she responded to Madison Rain, I was like, "Wait, so she wasn't signed to a contract?" Yeah, this was revealed a few days after or so when she won the women's title, and I was like, "Man, that's a ballsy move." Because what if she walked out and took the title with her? Like you already know what it's like to have a contracted wrestler who decides to not do the show, have an attitude, and then keep the title hostage for more money. Yeah, but congratulations to her. She didn't like her time in NXT, so yeah, she barely did a thing, I think. But yeah, oh my god. So remember Seth Rollins, the guy who's destroyed his reputation by being an incomprehensible idiot and kissing Vince's ass to a very dangerous point where he was borderline fanatic, and yet he couldn't accept the idea that there are just people who just have criticisms, and not every single person is a jealous hater or an evil person who wants to go after him and Becky. Not every single fan out there is a jealous hater who's just jealous of you and Becky. In fact, a lot of them are kind of happy for you as a person. But Colby Lopez likes to go ahead and shoot himself in the foot every single second he can, which has ruined my ever hope for what he would be like if he turned face again after his whole Messiah gimmick. But, yeah, he said this in an interview on WWE's The Bump. I don't know. I had something like the SmackDown Savior, but we'll see where it lands. I don't decide these things. The people decide these things. Okay, that's funny, Seth. Your Lord and Savior Vince is the one that decides these things. He could give two shits about what the fans want. Really, the only time the fans had any kind of input was just the black glove, and they didn't know you were hurt. This is what he says. I mean, it's interesting how some of the dynamics are different, especially going from a 3-hour show to a 2-hour show. The ocean's different now, and we have a lot of big fish. It's a different ball game, but the approach is still the same. Since, the Rollins and whatnot, this is what he said. Yeah, I was hoping SmackDown would be a fresh start for me, but they, the Mysterio family, don't seem to feel that way. I guess we're going to have to finish the unfinished business before I move on to the next chapter, or whatever the first chapter of the SmackDown Savior will be. Okay, so even Rollins, even though I know this is a little bit in character for him, but like even Rollins is admitting, I kind of want this feud to die. I mean, what's the point of having this feud continue? Like, Dominic benefited from it to big extent, but that's it. That's it. Like, Murphy, after they decided to do, after the RSN report they pulled, and it's teasing a romance angle because compassion doesn't exist in this fucking world unless it's romantic obligations. But now they seem to hint that there's something going on, even though that makes no sense. And I haven't watched the show, so I could be greatly wrong, and he's trying to be a good person, but they don't trust him because of what he's done with Seth Rollins, and so he's trying to make peace with them. But like, what's left to do? Like Seth Rollins' group has collapsed. He's on his own. Buddy Murphy's out to get him. Let the Mysterios just move on. Seriously, I'm just done. I feel like I'm done with this, and I haven't even watched the show in a long time. Roblox, or Roblox as I call it, passes $2 billion on mobile alone. The iOS version is more lucrative than the Android edition, bringing in $1.5 billion compared to the $545 million on Google Play. Apple itself has made $450 million off the iOS edition, while the Google has taken $164 million. All this is due to the 30% cut each company takes from the takes a platform holder. So they made $2 billion. Okay. Yeah, and especially it surged due to the virus. So, yeah, I'm not surprised. Hey, so my sister plays that game a lot. Or for buddies. So, Pixelated Roguelike Scourgebringer is now on Game Pass for PC and Xbox One. So, I don't know much about this game, but, so I don't know much about this game. I don't even know if I heard any reviews about it. like So yeah, I don't know much about that unless you played it yourselves and whatnot. But accordingly, it is a fast-paced, fast-moving roguelike platformer that's sort of like a crossover between Celeste, and Dead Cells. Okay, like I played a little bit of Dead Cells, and all I mostly remember for is the controversy that occurred. Oh, big news! WWE being investigated for possible COVID-19 hotspots. The Orange County Department of Health is investigating several buildings that are considered COVID-19 hotspots in the country. The buildings where WWE is running shows are part of that list. This Fightful F4W Online is reporting that the Orange County Department of Health is asking its COVID-19 strike team to investigate 17 buildings where COVID-19 may be spreading. Well-known bars, a church, and two church fitness crunch fitness gyms are being looked at, but so are the big three WWE venues: the Performance Center, Full Sail, and Amway Center. All places WWE are currently holding events are on the list. In a statement, WWE is not open to the public, but we're operating on a closed set, with only essential personnel in attendance. As part of our ongoing weekly protocol testings, which you started doing like halfway this year, when you should have done it from like probably 3 weeks when it started, and everything went to hell. So they go ahead and come up with this bullshit PR test, trying to act like they're the saviors or something. Yeah. Yeah, so, however, there reportedly has been at least 2 outbreaks in WWE since moving all the other tapings to Florida, one in June and another in September. But in the case of the latter, matches of Class of Champions had to be changed as a result. Well, though there was that NXT incident back in August, so really they were fucked either way. They have 3 outbreaks, and yet no one's questioning that they should shut down yet. Because at this point, we've pretty much given up hope. But, good news, while WWE is probably going to get in trouble for this, EA's gotten in trouble. EA is being sued in Canada over loot boxes. So, is being sued in Canada over loot boxes. A class action lawsuit has been brought against the EA in Canada, with the plaintiffs essentially arguing that Game Giants is profiting off of an illegal gambling business by selling randomized loot boxes for cash, remarkably similar to the lawsuit that was filed in August in California, which alleges that FIFA's Ultimate Team is essentially gambling. The Canadian suit was first spotted in Vancouver's Who's Getting Sued column by the Patch Notes, a game industry-focused blog. The Patch Notes has found and uploaded the full notice of civil claim, which contains the full details of the lawsuit. The lawsuit is being brought against EA by 2 individuals who describe themselves as customers of EA. One is described to have purchased loot boxes for EA's Madden NFL games, while the other has bought loot boxes for various NHL games. As class action lawsuit, however, the actions are being brought against EA on behalf of everyone who's purchased loot boxes in any of EA's games since 2008, which may mean a hefty payout on EA's part of the suit is successful. Do it! Do it! Beat them! Like, how many times are they going to keep thinking they can get away with this at this point? They need something to knock them into it. They need to knock them out of this issue, because I'm sick of the loot box era. Like yeah, Star Wars Squadron and Fallen Order weren't loot boxes, but that's only because there was enough backlash going on. So, especially after the whole, we are actually calling it surprise mechanics. You hear me? Surprise mechanics. Yeah, so how do you excuse if a lawsuit or the government comes knocking? What would that be? So, bad news for everyone who were on QB. It's shutting down after 6 months. Yeah. Set to show the service, according to a recent call to investors, were via co-founder Jeffrey Katzenberg. He and his counterpart Meg Waitman, and launched the service in April with hopes to become a 3rd-generation film narrative. Okay, we got that part. Unfortunately, it never took off. Initially, the app had downloaded about 4.5 million users, with 1.6 subscribing. However, over 90% of those subscribers left after the free 90-day trial. And how there were a whole bunch of complaints. And then an update came out where they confirmed, yes, it is shutting down, and saying there's an issued an apology, saying, as for the existing properties owned by QB, they mentioned that over the coming months, we will be working hard to find buyers of these value assets who can leverage them to their full potential. So I never got into QB. The idea of watching 5 to 10 minute chapters of movies and series sounds great on paper. The unfortunate timing of its launch as the COVID-19 pandemic began spreading rapidly clearly had an impact on the service that was designed to thrive while others are on the go. So, yeah, yeah, they probably should. Like, I'm not saying like this could not have been avoided. Let's be honest. Like, especially when you're fighting in a crowded market with Disney Plus, Netflix, the Juggernaut, and HBO Max, and they had launched before the pandemic. Netflix, especially, been around a lot longer. It was a kind of a lose-lose situation. They would either get a steady population, or they would get no population because it just wouldn't happen. Sucks for them, really sucks. It just generally is bad all around. I'm sorry to hear that from them. So we'll have to hope what they can do and what they can do with the intellectual properties they develop. But yeah, it's the end of QB. So, good news for those who liked Jared Leto's Joker. So, Jared Leto will return as the Joker again in Zack Snyder's Justice League. The Hollywood Reporter has learned that Leto will play his version of the Joker, who first appeared in 2016 Suicide Squad, in Zack Snyder's Justice League. Leto will be part of the reshoots of the Snyder Cut for the planned 4-episode event, and on HBO Max. So So details about what will be in Zack Snyder's whatnot are sometimes conflicting, although originally reported that the new Justice League will not have any reshoots with the original cast. It was later reported that the cast will return in October for reshoots. Boots, though, Henry Cavill said no. Oh, and the Snyder Cut will cost HBO $30 million to produce. Oops, and apparently no footage filmed by Joss Whedon would be in it. But yeah, Jared Leto's Joker. Here's the thing I Leto's Joker, considering how far he took that character in terms of when he was trying to method act, I'm curious to know what he's gonna do in this. Is he just gonna get killed off by Steppenwolf, or is he gonna be killed off by Batman? Because Batman was still the dark killer that he is in Zack Snyder's world, but even after Superman convinced him not to be killing him, thanks to Martha, because any son would call their mom by their first name, right. But I've always had a viewpoint with Jared Leto. Like, I think he could have been a okay Joker, but it's just they were really trying to put on the nose, and what, like, the damage tattoo doesn't make sense to me and whatnot. And honestly, it would have been interesting if they explored it more. But since this will probably be the last time we ever see Jared Leto Joker, I get the feeling that's gonna be it. They're probably gonna have Steppenwolf kill him off, especially since they've established that Harley Quinn broke up with him in Birds of Prey, even though he doesn't show up in it. And they should emphasize that by letting her blow up the Ace Chemicals, where she was reborn. And honestly, this version could have been interesting if they explored more of his conflicting emotions for Harley. Like, the one that wants to care about her, but the other part that doesn't. But yeah, they never got a chance to explore that because Leto's Joker just wasn't working with people. So, yeah. So, 2K has revealed 2 new skill trees coming as part of Borderlands 3's Designer's Cut. The 2 new skill trees are for Vault Hunter's Arma and FL 4K. The first for Arma is the Enlightened Force skill tree, which allows you to build around cryo elemental effects and freezing enemies. The tree's passive help maximizes elemental damage and slow enemies down. While the face fire action skill summons an aura of elemental energy that can be controlled directed towards enemies. For Flak, the Designer's Cut will add the Trapper skill tree, which provides sealed and critical hit bonuses for the character's pet. The tree's action skill is Gravity Snare, which periodically lifts enemies into the air, interrupts their attacks, and then slaps them into the ground for damage. Both skills are available to do and customize on the War 3 website. Borderlands 3 website. You can check out those, which allows you to see all the branches and individual skills they can provide. So, like I said, this is part of the whole designer's cut, including the arms race, a new mode, set to launch on November 10th. It can be bought individually or as part of the season pass 2, which also includes the director's cut DLC that will release in spring 2021. I don't know about that. Like, I'm still wondering what the hell they were going to put in the director's cut. But okay. So, Devolver Digital buys Serious Sam developer Crow Team. They purchased the Serious Sam developer and announced today, having worked together for over a decade, the decision has been made to bring the two companies together. While Devolver joked in his announcement that they have decided to get married. Excuse me. Pro Team and Devolver Digital have been dating for so long that we decided to go ahead and just get married. However, despite the acquisition, they will maintain total creative freedom, although we still plan to keep making dumb recommendations that Crow Team just ignores. So this is just a joking thing. Crow Team began nearly 30 years ago as a group of childhood friends in a small garage in some place I can't pronounce. The series was built around creative experimentation, pursuing technical boundaries, and trusting one another that would span decades. Crow Team started with soccer games before turning together a demo that eventually became the first Serious Sam. The team struggled to find a publisher for the demo and subsequent game, but one publisher bit gathering of developers. That support blossomed into friendship and respect that would eventually reconnect Crow Team and the Sam of the gathering of developers team when they later helped fund Devolver Digital. A decade ago, Devolver Digital was just getting started, looking for its first project to partner on an emerging digital distribution world. Similarly, Crow Team was on the same search for a partner they could trust to help them bring their beloved franchise back to prominence with the upcoming Serious Sam 3. And like that, the next big Serious Sam game brought all partners back together and forged a decade of friendship and dedication. Having worked on several games since, Devolver said fans of Crow Team can expect the Child's Principle 2, more Serious Sam games, and original intellectual properties in the future. Cool! That's actually kind of cool. Congrats to them, though I do love that they're playing this joking around about how they're getting married and how they had a relationship for over 10 years. There's that. At least there's some sense of camaraderie going on. So, we got a next-gen Uplay, Ubisoft Connect. Will have cross-progression and digital rewards. Ubisoft Connect will let players earn rewards for playing Ubisoft games. So it does all the standard stuff, and Ubisoft Connect will fully embrace cross-platform features, including cross-progression, cross-platform friends lists, and stats and leaderboards. They spoke with IGN about this and how the rewards program and everything coming into play. At launch, Ubisoft will unlock over 1,000 legacy Ubisoft credit club rewards for free to all players, so that more rewards can be introduced through Ubisoft Connect. Available on Windows, Xbox One, Xbox Series X and S, PS4 and 5, Nintendo Switch, and will be released on October 29th with Watch Dogs Legion. So, yeah, I'm mostly excited for Watch Dogs Legion, honestly. I like Assassin's Creed Valhalla looks promising, but I'm just the Watch Dogs Legion guy, because of all the insanity that we get to do. But other news is Humankind will be released in April 2021. Humankind, the upcoming 4X strategy game, will be released in April 2021. Stadia players will be able to play a free 100-turn gameplay scenario right now to try the studio's upcoming game. In Humankind, players will lead civilization through 6 major eras of human history. Through every era, the players will select one of 10 civilizations based on the types of historical societies and choose how the society will grow and evolve. So the studio says that there can be a million different civilization patterns players can develop based on the choices players made. To celebrate the launch window announcement, they released early access version of the game on Stadia through the new open dev beta scenario. This will allow players to try out the first 100 turns of Humankind run for free. Pre-orders beginning today, and players will get the digital deluxe edition, which includes Humankind, the in-game Notre Dame pack, the official digital soundtrack, and the PDF unit and tech tree. Furthermore, pre-purchasing will net players a avatar set, player profile pre-purchase decoration, and player profile symbol set. Check out the interview with Humankind developer at IGN's Summer of Gaming on their channel and whatnot. Okay. I don't know much about this. It does sound like Civilization to me. I'm getting Civilization. Like, do they offer anything different that's not like Civilization, even though it kind of clearly is? Do like it just looks like I'm looking at the screenshots right now. It just looks like Civilization to me. It genuinely does look like Civilization, but with 3D models and more realism. So, big update on the Star Wars The High Republic. New art came out that reveals the 4 Padawans. I will try to pronounce their names, except the Wookiee. I cannot try, I tried. But the Wookiee reveals that this character is one of the few Wookiees to travel from the lush forest of Kashyyyk to study in the ornate halls of the Jedi Temple in Coruscant, where he is taught by his devoted master, who learned the language in order to better educate her student in the ways of the Force. Souls describes the character as being skilled with a two-handed lightsaber, though he knows that has talents in other areas too. The gifted student is said to possess a natural effortlessness to ability to sense the emotion of others, which sets him apart from the other members of the Order. Ria Salias says, Into the Dark, author Kali says Ria Salias experiences a huge transition across the pages of her book. He said to have had a somewhat privileged apprenticeship because of his master Jormel is a member of the Jedi Council, which means he has spent most of the time on Coruscant and attending elevated diplomatic meetings and other high-status gatherings. Therefore, his shift to the frontier is probably going to be quite drastic, though it will ultimately help him learn what he's really made of. Lula Talasola says the writer of High Adventures Republic comic, High Republic Adventures comic, describes her as a loyal and compassionate character who is all about the Jedi Order. She loves it, can hardly wait to get knighted, and wants to be the best Jedi that ever was. The determined young Padawan wields a blue lightsaber, which apparently is very skilled with, as she has risen to the ranks to become the top of her class. However, Lula isn't all about herself. She makes a point to look out for the rest of her 2 best friends, Warza and Ort. Okay, especially when they're causing mischief. And finally, Bel Zettifar appears in Soleil's Light of the Jedi novel alongside the Wookiee character. Bel is apprenticed to the legendary Lord Greatstorm in the upcoming novel, where they are both stationed at the Jedi outpost on the Or world of whatever deep in the Outer Rim. Even though the conditions are described as harsh, Bel and his master work together to keep the peace and spread the light, with Bel spending most of his time training and wandering the iron hills of the planet with a charhound named Ember. Okay, so these artworks are pretty good. They look pretty good. I am curious about how the High Republic's going to work out, since we already know where the end goal is going to be at, because, the Order falls apart. But like I said, I kept saying like when the idea was that they say what scares the Jedi, and it's clearly going to be these Viking pirates. I was thinking, why can't it be a story about the idea of change? The greatest enemy of the Jedi of old. Change being the enemy. Change not wanting to adapt and change with the times. If that had been the plot, that would have been interesting. In fact, that would have been interesting. Like, if, say, they tried to change and then something happened and they stopped, that could have actually been a very interesting tale to take. But no, we're going to get this high concepted science fiction fantasy adventure. So, yeah, I'm just hoping it's better than the sequel trilogy, in my opinion. But, yeah, so good news for those who are interested in the Falcon and Winter Soldier. It's bringing back some of those earliest MCU characters. There are characters from the earliest of the Marvel movies that are coming back. Series writer Derek Colston said on the Script Apart podcast, they're lowering them in and reinventing them in such a way that it's going to be kind of a shift to the storytelling structure, which is effing awesome. He won't actually name drop the characters, but the eyes seem to be set on Phase 1. It wouldn't be too unusual given another Disney Plus series. WandaVision has already confirmed the return of Kate Dennings, Phase 1 character Darcy Lewis. And out of the team is close to finishing up production after the COVID-related delay earlier this year. They got hit by COVID and they're finishing up finally. But it's going to be effing cool. I'm very honored. I'm proud of what it came to be. It's unknown at this time what we'll get a look at these early MCU characters on the show are in the show, as the Falcon Winter Soldier doesn't have a release date, as it was delayed beyond its original August release and whatnot. So it could be a lot of people. Like, there was a ton of stuff that was like forgotten about in phase one. Like, where they just like, didn't the Incredible Hulk have a character that was transforming, then they cut away from it, never to be brought up again, and it never was brought up again in any other movie because they didn't make any more Hulk movies, so it'd be kind of pointless. Like, that character could probably show up in She-Hulk since she's getting a series now on Disney Plus. But yeah, I'm just more confused about that. Like, there was so many stuff. There were so many characters they could have put in more, but they chose not to, and now they have a chance to bring it all back. Finally. So, good news, everyone! Michael Keaton on Batman's return. We're talking about it. We'll see if that happens. And it's saying that they're responding to reports that he's preparing to reprise his role as Batman in The Flash, opposite Ezra Miller's Barry Allen. During an appearance on Jimmy Kimmel Live, Kimmel asked Keaton if he could verify the rumors that he would be suiting up to play Batman in 2022's The Flash. However, Keaton said that he couldn't confirm anything on that front. He later adds, "We're having discussions. As they say, we're talking about it. We'll see if it happens." With Ben Affleck already confirmed to have a very substantial part in The Flash, Keaton went on to joke that all 127 previous Batmen will be making their appearance in the DCU before then declaring himself to be the best Dark Knight of the lot. So, yeah, he played Batman in 1989's Batman and 1990's Batman Return in the Tim Burton era. And they were planning to do the third, but dropped out. Val Kilmer took over the role for Batman Forever. And then George Clooney took over Batman for the fourth one. But, yeah, I get the feeling that it's kind of a given guarantee at this point, considering concept art's been coming out regarding the original OG Batman of movies. Though, even though people will point out that Keaton's Batman was not the original OG of film, that there was another one that doesn't get talked about anymore. Or I found that out a while back, but I don't really talk about it because I just forget about it. But I am curious, if they bring him in, okay, here's the best way to describe it. Considering how they've established that Keaton's Batman is part of the Crisis universe, of the Arrowverse and whatnot, and how he showed up in Crisis and the cameo with his world dying, do you think he might be looking into, I do find it curious to know what's happened? And now when he sees the Flash coming in, Ezra Miller's Flash coming in, will he finally remember the crisis that was before or when the Arrowverse crisis happened? Because that would be an interesting route they could go with. The Batman of Keaton's world learning the truth that wait, oh my god, we were all killed! Yeah. So, yeah, and also let's see if his hatred for rock and roll will be established. Though it's gonna be interesting if there's Affleck Batman and Keaton Batman, and two Batmen that were absolutely reviled in their time for being casted as Batman, because Keaton was very despised by fans who didn't want to play Batman, only for people to say fuck. So, and Ben Affleck got reviled for it, but because at least there was an establishment on the whole he played Daredevil, and that didn't really work out so well. But we'll see on that. See if they'll interact with each other. So, Star Wars Tales from the Galaxy's Edge is coming to the Oculus Quest in November. So, I don't know much about this game, but it will arrive exclusively for Oculus Quest on November 19th, and a new trailer was shown that we'll be doing it, that what we could be doing in VR game. Revealed on the Star Wars website, the VR experience will have players meet C-3PO, R2-D2, and Frank Oz voiced Yoda. It describes a whole new way to explore the world of Star Wars, as Galaxy Edge at Disneyland Resort and a Walt Disney Resort, and discover what exactly happens past the boundaries of the Black Spire outpost. God damn it. I know they're trying with this idea, with the Galaxy's Edge thing, but I just... I just don't care about the Galaxy's Edge. It's even been established Hondo is still alive, I think. So yeah, more characters that will probably show up to build up the new continuity more. But I'm just not interested. So Xbox has seemingly announcing a digital Xbox Series launch event, and saying in a tweet, tune in November 9th at 11 p.m. NZDT and 9 p.m. AEDT. I don't know. Oh, this was on Xbox ANZ account. That will be 100% socially distanced and virtual, meaning fans can tune in regardless of their location. And also the Xbox Mexico account tweeted out a similar RSVP tweet for a special celebration event that will take place on November 9th at 7 p.m. No announcement has been made regarding US and UK events, but they can likely expect a similar celebratory launch event. So, yeah, curious to know what this event's all about. No idea, honestly, but we'll see when it comes out. Eric Redbeard, aka Eric Rowan, will be returning to the ring at UWN Primetime Live. Back in April, Rowan was released as part of the company-wide cutbacks that really should have went very differently. Then he took a break and is now returning back to his roots as Eric Redbeard. Set to end in the coming weeks, as he was announced as a participant for the UWNK World United Wrestling Network World Title Tournament on UWN Primetime Live. He will face against former Tough Enough contestant Watts in the first round. If Redbeard wins, he will face Charles Dickinson and Peter Avalon in the semifinals. The other participants in the tournament are Fred Roser and New Japan Pro Wrestling's Carl Fredericks, Davey Boy Smith Jr., and Mike Bennett. So, yeah, his last wrestling match was him being squashed in 3 minutes and murdering his pet spider at the hands of the McIntyre. Because that was such a very developed story. Even Rowan admitted that he didn't know what the hell was the end game. And let's be honest, it was the stupidest end game they did. A robotic spider. Yes, bow before the new leader of humanity with his pet robotic spider. So, remember that guy that Warner has asked for his release? Yeah, remember him? MLW has denied his request. According to Haynes of Bodyslam.net, Warner is still trying to get out and the lawyers are now involved. So, oh yeah, all they're saying is that Mance Warner remains under a deal. Well, and AEW did get interested in him, and he recently filed for trademarks for his in-ring name as Southern Stomper. So yeah, kind of a bad situation going on with that. So lawyers are getting involved. That sucks. We'll have to see where that goes. And finally, in our daily news report, so everyone was hoping that WrestleMania was it. Undertaker rode off into the night with his badass biker gimmick once more. Well, WrestleVotes has reported that The Undertaker is coming back. The upcoming Survivor Series 2020 pay-per-view will be built around the 30th anniversary of The Undertaker, including making him a live appearance on the show. The source states as of now, luckily, Undertaker will not be wrestling at the event. So, yeah. WrestleVotes also noted Taker isn't slated to step inside the square circle at the event. The American Badass confirmed his retirement in the final episode, but he had the never say never line, and after Vince disliked the ending of the series. Because Vince is a pathetic sack of shit. And like, he almost threw away his friendship with Taker over StarCast. Do you really think he's gonna? You really don't think he's gonna try and kill the guy at this point? But yeah, let's hope the American Badass comes back looking like the American Badass, because there's no way you could get the genie out of the bottle since people wanted that back for years now, and they finally do it thanks to Styles. Honestly, I hope this is not some big plan to build him up for another WrestleMania match. Like, as much as I would love to see a mix of the Boneyard and the Wyatt match, the Funhouse match, a cinematic fight, I kind of just want him to stop. There's like nothing left for him to do. He's main event WrestleMania with Styles. Styles got to end the career with Taker. Being his final opponent is awesome. And honestly, as much as people like to think that Taker will come back if Vince calls for him, I honestly hope Taker stands up for once. So, yeah. That's the end of all those news. So let's get into the final bit of things of today. Our weekly dose of comics. And first up is the Arcturn variant of Fantastic Four issue 25. I was honestly conflicted about this. I haven't been reading the Fantastic Four, and I felt like this should, and I honestly wanted to get this just for the Arcturn variant of Doctor Doom. I was actually conflicted because they also put Black Bolt's Alex Ross Timeless variant on there, and I got conflicted about that. But I knew I had to choose. So I went with the Arcturn variant because it's freaking awesome. Also, we get Doom Metal Part 3, I think. I could be wrong. I've lost track. But yeah, this is a homage to the New 52 Justice League issue 1 cover. And that's just depressing. But yeah, glad to see more homage covers to the past. Good. Next up is part of the XXX Swords lineup. X-Men and Excalibur. Both issue 13 is part of the Alex Ross Timeless variants featuring Cyclops, Nightcrawler. So, looking forward to that. Trying to get back into reading all this stuff so I can make more video content. Along with joining them is Alex Ross's it's the Alex Ross covered Iron Man. Iron Man issue 2 by Cantwell and Kafu. Ooh, I enjoyed issue 1, so I'll be probably making a video about this. Also joining the race in the DC side of things is Batman issue 101 featuring Grifter and Batman variant. And oh man, featuring the aftermath of Joker War. And boy oh boy. Also in the DC side of things, we got Harley Quinn. Batman White Knight presenting Harley Quinn, part of the Sean Murphy verse of DC. Curious to know if that's going to be canon after Death Metal. Also, speaking of Death Metal, we'll be joining with the Robin King. Yeah, I'll be talking about that since I saw the issue. I will not say it now, but you'll wait. Nightwing, issue 75. The return of Dick Grayson Nightwing. Yay! And it seems KG Beast is pissed off now because now his reputation is going to be destroyed unless he kills Nightwing. So, yeah, that's going to be fun. And last but not least, what could we complete for this? Graphic novels. Their Dark Designs. Batman Volume 1 by James Tyrion IV. So, once again, I got now the issues for the Batman book of the James Tyrion era. So, awesome. These were all my collected works, my collected comic books for this week. The debut of Punchline and everything. So, looking forward to reading all this stuff and getting back to you on this. This was Neo Reality Entertainment. Feel free to like, comment, subscribe, and donate Institute for more. And this was Neo Reality Collective, issue number 30. So, peace out. I'm pretty sure I'm probably going to make a XXX episode. So, yeah. I'm itchy. Take care.